All right, last thing I want to talk about today is the branding elements that your church needs. Okay, churches are very, very specific in their needs to reach their community. They are a nonprofit, they are an organizational entity, they are treated in some ways like a US business. There are certain laws and regulations we have to go around. We're not just some free anarchical entity like other people think we are, just because we don't pay typical taxes, even though everyone I talk to that's the unchurched, they get surprised about how many taxes churches actually do pay. But anyways, so what do design elements, excuse me, what branding elements do churches need? It is more unique for churches than businesses because you can go out to a business and you can go out to a local print shop and you can get some really good stuff for your business and it's not going to translate trying to implement it with your church. So number one, we'll start with some of the things that I think we all know, but I'll say it anyways. Not that if you don't know this, you're incompetent or whatever. It's just that most people have other things to worry about. So let me do a recap here of the essentials that we need. Number one is definite colors, okay? Notice number one is not your logo, okay? Because your logo is going to be somewhat remembered, but your colors are instantly recognizable. If you see that Coca-Cola red, you're gonna think Coca-Cola before you can read the word Coca-Cola, all right? If you're in Houston and you see orange, white, and dark blue, you're going to think about the Astros before you see that Astros logo. All right, we just lost half our audience because I mentioned the Astros. Hate is going to hate. But you need definite colors. That's where it starts because some logos will not work with some colors, all right? If you take that Coke logo and you turn it purple, it's not gonna look good, okay? You take that Taco Bell logo and you turn it Coke red, it's not gonna look good, right? Those colors are picked because, those logos are built upon the color foundations. So you actually start with the colors, and that's our philosophy. That's why we have such long-term longevity in the logos that we create and the branding elements we create for churches because we start with the colors. You need definite colors, and I'm not talking about a light blue and a shade of teal and this like bumblebee yellow. I'm talking about specific to the decimal or to the hex code colors that you're using consistently. And then there are secondary colors that you can use to accompany your primary colors, all right? But they accompany your primary colors, they don't take over. So again, there are multiple colors that accompany, for example, the New York Yankees pinstripes colors, but they don't overtake it. It always comes down to that Yankee blue, okay? So we want to make sure that we use consistency in our colors, and to do that, we have to first choose definite colors, okay? Number two, while we're talking about not the font, not the logo, we should have a definite font that we use in our church, okay? This is something, again, that the larger churches do really well that smaller churches just don't think about, okay? And by the way, when I say choose a font, I don't mean take your font that you use for your logo and use it for everything else. For many churches, their font that they use for their logo should not be used for anything else, okay? But you should have a consistent, hey, anytime we write a headline or a header in our bulletin, on our website, flyers, whatever else, we use this font, Montserrat Bold, okay? And then a definite paragraph font, right? Anytime we write something in our bulletin, on our website, in a newsletter, whatever, we use Open Sans, whatever it is, super basic, which is fine, okay? But that consistency will breed trust. A great example, I'm not a fan of the brand right now, but a great example, you can't deny their branding, is Nike, okay? Walk into any Nike store, walk into any Nike section, go to the Nike website, you are going to see the same exact bold, thick font in whatever is written. Okay, that is the Nike font that they use for all of their writings. Okay, I don't know if it's the exact font as the logo. By my brain memory, it isn't, but it's kind of an offshoot. Okay, but when you see that thick, grungy kind of thick font, right? You know it's Nike. I knew when I was walking past we took my wife to the mall yesterday and we walked past a Nike store and I knew it was the Nike store before I even saw the swoosh because of that font. It was so deeply ingrained in my brain that I knew it was Nike before I saw them. That's what I want for your church, for your local community. I'm not talking about nationwide. I'm talking about for the 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, million people, just those people around your area that you are equipped to serve. Choosing definite fonts that you use across your brand, across all your writings and typings will maintain consistency so people can easier recognize you. The easier they recognize you, the more they remember you, the more they remember you, the more they trust you, the more they trust you, the more you can rely on them to take a next step with you. Number 3, what branding elements most churches need? Logo consistency and flexibility. Okay, this is where we get a little bit different from what businesses and churches need, because churches have to be a lot more flexible. Churches, for the size of the organization, need way more way more branding elements than any other business might ever need, right? Once a business gets its logo, it's on the website, it's on business cards, that's it, right? Maybe a flyer. All right, well, they don't use the logo for anything else. Whereas churches, okay, we've got bulletin, app, slides, business cards, invite cards, letterhead, website, did I say that? Social media, app, press releases, whatever else have you that the logo has to go on. The logo has to be what we call adaptive or responsive or scalable. It should look just as good on a small app icon as it does on a large billboard. There are a lot of churches that get in trouble with this, especially churches that like the badge icon. That's going to be usually your more traditional, a lot of times your Southern Black churches, they like that royal looking badge icon. I think it's great. There is a time for that. But if you don't create that logo with the intention of looking good big, like it does, or looking small where it gets blurry and you can't tell what it is, right? That's where these kind of those badge style logos or crest style logos get in trouble, because they're not scalable. They're not easily scalable. So you need to have logo consistency, but with that you have to have some flexibility so that no matter where the logo appears, it's recognizable. All right. A good example of this is the Disney D. I always bring this up in consultation calls. The Disney D. When you go watch a Disney film, if you still go watch them at all, I feel like it's been a while since I've seen a Disney film in movies, in the theaters. But when you go to the theaters, or when you used to go to the theaters, you got that giant blue Disney wipe, right? You got the castle made out of horizontal stripes, the Tinkerbell that comes across, Disney Entertainment, right? You got that giant thing, okay? But then you load up Disney on your website, maybe you're planning a Disney trip or something, or seeing an article with it, you don't see that whole Disney Entertainment with the castle and Tinkerbell. You just see the word Disney, okay? You see the word Disney, but it's in that Disney font. It's recognizable. You know it's still Disney. Then you open up your phone and load up Disney Plus for the kiddos. You don't have room even for the word Disney. You see the Disney D, and maybe a plus sign, but you see the Disney D, right? That's using the same logo across different scales, but it's flexible. So no matter if you just see the D, if you just see the word Disney, or if you see the giant Disney Entertainment, right? You recognize that it's Disney all across the way. In the same way, church logos can work, whether we see it on the giant church sign or we see it small on social media in an advertisement or on a web page. We can rely on that this is that church that has already embedded itself, because I remember it being a hopeful church, a peaceful church, a church that loves the community, and I can get behind this, okay? Versus, is this a scam? Is this a different church? Because it looks completely different, right? So churches need something specific. That's why we opened up Nava Church Marketing. You need flexibility in your logo. The last element we're going to talk about today, it's not the definitive, but the last element that churches need for their visual branding is consistent use in all visuals, okay? Meaning, one of the things we like to do is when we do branding, we create backgrounds that we can use for the website, you can use for social media posts, you can use for bulletin covers, whatever that is, backgrounds that you can use to maintain consistency. So anytime your youth pastor says, I need to make a flyer, you can just hand off the backgrounds and he knows or she knows where to start as far as designing, or they can even just take the background and put some text on it and hey, you got a flyer. It looks beautiful, okay? Consistency in visuals. If you've got scratchiness on your social media posts, I hope, and you've got nice curved lines on your website, that's inconsistent. They all got to be nice, smooth lines or all scratchy lines. One of my favorite things that for a client back when I used to do secular work, he was a musician, and one thing he told me in our consultation was, I hate straight lines. He's like, I don't want any straight lines on my website. And you know what? I gave him, this is when I was doing the sites, I gave him no straight lines on the website, not even on the section breaks, right? Everything was a smooth line. There were no straight lines except for the letter L on his website, okay? But he maintained that consistency across his musician promotions, across his social media, across his lower third designs on video. No straight lines. It was consistent. So when you saw that color purple with the color gray, with the cartoon animations and the smooth lines, you knew who it was without having to see his name, okay? So consistency across your website, your social media, your ads, and in person, your slides, your bulletin, all of this breeds consistency, which again breeds trust, which again creates next steps. If you're not getting next steps, meaning if people are not taking action, making decisions to visit your church, to check out the groups, to ask a question on your website, right? All of these things breed trust, and there has to be consistency.